I'm bringing to this discussion is that, we cannot fight the system. We can enable the system. We can support things to work. So if you say you want to break down the patriarchal system, that is not going to happen. It's going to happen if we are able to, enable the people around us, enable the young ones, enable the young ladies, enable our mothers. If we are enabling them, how do we enable them? I think it's clear that education has a role to play. But even with education, to have proper education, it has to come from sometimes top down. And this is where we want the policymakers to lay down the framework. So we have to look at how policy is contributing to this, to make sure that the systems are indeed open enough for our young mothers, our young sisters to operate equally. So equality, or if we want this topic to really be sustainable, we want to create the enabling environment so that things will thrive. And I think one of the biggest things that I recently read about this topic is that when our women, when our mothers start taking charge of their lives. So if you look at the Western Europe, the gender movement, equality became a big thing when, a simple thing like condom had a lot of impact on the human society today. Because women, from the point where, we start thinking that, we have control of our bodies and we can do more with it, then this whole bullshit of, men dominating us would not happen. So I think one big contribution I will say is that we start putting the infrastructure or systems in place and also ensure that, economically people are well, taken care of. Now, Norway can survive. We can survive here talking about equality because the system protects us. Today, if a woman in Norway should feel abused, he knows that when he leaves his family, he will get a system to protect him. Now, in Ghana, where I originally come from, if a woman gets abused, he knows that when he goes out, he's not going to get a home to sleep. The police are not going to be on his side. No one is not going to side with him. So the biggest challenge, we are not here. We are quite okay. This topic might not be it is not impacting us so much as it is impacting the people in our various countries. We have to advocate for stronger systems, stronger, educational systems. And quite frankly, recently in Ghana, if you've been following the news, there was a topic about, the government is trying to implement a system where, sexual education would be really a core part of basic education. And it became a hula balloon. Why? Because people feel that it will become a threat, threat to these systems. If I know my sexuality, it doesn't mean I'm going to use it. I'm just good enough. I know what is good for me. In Norway, my 7-year-old daughter once asked me, how do we make babies? I have to tell her, right? I have to tell her how we make babies. But when I was growing up, you dare not ask your parents about that. They'll tell you to go away. This is not a question to ask. All right? So we have to really, really emphasize. The point is, let's create the enabling environment. We shouldn't fight it. We should create the system. Don't fight it. Let's create a system. Thank you very much.
Any more questions? Any more?
Thank you. I don't really like talking in public, although I love talking. But Shashi already did, because I wanted to problematize religion in the subjugation of females. And I come from Namibia. Before I came to Norway, I've never met any Muslims. And I don't know when Islam was brought to Senegal or to the Gambia, but Christianity only came about 100 years ago in Namibia. And I've seen the role that it plays in keeping my sisters down. In Namibia, there are so many women who are infected with HIV, who are disempowered in their homes because of religion. So really, we cannot talk about the disempowerment of women without bringing religion into the problem about what role it plays. I said to my nieces and my own daughter, I told her, you should never open your legs until you feel a deep desire. And wherever you go, when you come of the sexual age, you should always take condoms with you in case you feel that need. So what was very powerful what Amina did tonight about talking about sex, because we never talk about sex, but there's a lot of sexual dysfunction. And there's a lot of power negotiations that happen in the bedroom, but we never address it. It's just a silent thing. So yeah, I really think we should talk to our daughters. You know, in Zambia they have the Bemba people. When the girls are very young, they are taught how to satisfy themselves, how to satisfy their men, how to use their sexual organs to their own satisfaction. And for me, I think I found that out when I was 40 years old. I read about this. I was flabbergasted, you know. And in the San, people of in the Kalahari, they also practice very egalitarian sexual relations. The same with the Himba people. In fact, they even do wife swappings. So for me, when I hear about polygamy, yes, they do, and apparently they enjoy it thoroughly, you know, from what I've heard. So I feel like with polygamy, when women are already disempowered, so when will they come out of those shackles? If they don't have, because I don't think really the solution is to make polyandry and make it equal. Because the solution is, like my sister was saying there, we've been oppressed for so many years. So there's so much work to do. Personally, I've become very despondent when I hear, I can't believe in 2000 and almost 20 that we are still discussing these things that don't really move us forward. Because, yeah, so basically that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Ndemani kakamule fola. Atodo kafanya dile lafta mem fola wole mkomi mbal molde tankla mol menata na diamlal menata. Bari lafta Ismail kumole domandi la lafta kumole la wole kan. Lafta mem fola because kaf komi saying maybe to the generation wo fenkatale. Comme une de la génération ça est stoulé maintenant on a pris une taux phone because ma da konto un konto phone la because unto ya kewol ko wulule fo mbalo mesangi de le fola an min kewol wala mu dingol men ka fo me kula wala mu wala role model ika wala jibe dino ka fama la jibe jama so sai ni ate ta fama wo ite fama ko men ite ma wo ifama ma fale sai almomo kontine la wala ni to wala karana society be frena nyaadi ibe karamu nyin kanya di ba bonda min to lato ko sala role model kam njibe o ko le kam so de fan la fa wala kala ko ngam mo fo da han men ka fo min karim fo mi ha ni ifama muslimani ni maybe ni ke bayata ite to kala ko si fama men ke tamala ko ke ko sa fi la ko mi ibe ile fama do ba ma do to mala men bari ya fo so le bulo ile ikela mayen faline ifana ka mun ka be ka men fo la min to maybe inte ta kala maybe into the family, but you can't kill. So now I'm like, still, Nigerian song, I'm not late, Nyan to the Canada, because on Toya and to look at limited, I'm Philip Bible live, so live 40 years, 45 years, but then came out Ulan. But in Toya, I'm going to look for any other for your family, more be for your family. So I know when I go from some kill. I'm not going to am for the kill for Mamma Fayani. So say, so
Thank you very much. Men, just wait. Huh? What he was explaining, I'm not very good at Mandinka, but what he was explaining is that Ismaila said that we've lost the generation, the older generation, cut them when they're young. And Nima is saying that the fathers should be the role model for their sons, and they should behave. Yeah. I think that was it.
No.
Yeah.
No, I think even for ito ni ko ne. Yema, even for abe wala nya to nya lawoti. But in take coming for no worong ko. Even though nyanda ka concentrate with the current generation. But tilimali ya be alon ka be ka kang sanji kebe. Ndio fali no la sanji mo. One day. Even though nyanda ka focus on the current generation, but more attention nyanda ko di na diningol nila. Manam fam ba wolle bina sa wolle bina kala wulula di sama isa wol fana bi dingol karane wol fana dingol karane
yang wolon basan ko bialo han sai ki mal julu be fama le ki kan so ko mal man yana fana bulala ja sana tala ke fana karande ko mi fana
me wolla de me wolla nga me famal karande la de wulula be karande la de bari niatara bari lam nanta ka focus fana dingol le fana ko ba isa wolle bina kala wulula wol fana si dingol kara wol dingol kara so ba ko sanji ke be nyaado be kacha me na den do kata kala batar la problème mo ni na so
I have a question to ask. How many women here are in polygamous relationships? If you are shy to answer, don't answer. You are. Okay. Would you say to scrap polygamy, or you would rather have men behaving properly and behaving fairly?
Say it again.
I didn't know man the Norwegian
ako nyuma ako fo ite la flale bang ikema e musudo nyini na yakara abe diko falina le diko me alonko ate abe fe ala tema okay ku fulana do bi je ye musu e ke bula ay musu fula fudu ani wo
abla fo angale ka ona dro ka mo
So the question is, he would want to.
Let me ask the question again.
Yeah.
Okay, you are in a polygamous relationship. Okay, do you prefer that polygamy be scrapped altogether, or would you rather have men behaving properly and fairly, with empathy and recognition and all that? What do you prefer?
Nisa. Asaman.
Niatra comiente ba chiusla. Nella come ni muro yenke masaya. Bar komi ala ya woleke anna accept la katarage. So but at the same time fana bela flan fana ke wole komi behave. Ye ma kuke ya itan ya ni longo. Ntulbe mahadama ni woleti. Al komi tulbe ko komi yana ntul fana treat la komi hadama ni komi te fan treat nyame. Komi mala mo emenkela ikana kala. So komi ni yana yolo ali yau ka yau e din kan do sifa fana. Komi tala fe wole kalo. Komi amanya kala do komi ka fo mi. Itola right lem dama. But komi musul gong ning Moses payment from communities ning ka emotional problem la musul kang ani dimul kang so kami psychological effect na ka akemo musul kang ani dimul ka tambale ndole be work jam ndole ba en sama iska stay in the marriage hata ke musul ma ben ke mabulu but kami ndina understanding ngolo be ndina gele ko ndi ke ma tela fitala even though hata ndama la fara tena accuse kataraje so but woman kentati doesn't mean coming to man to musukenoti doesn't mean maybe munya na men kai mo wala kai but na there was at what am life I didn't accuse and I accept to stay in there but at the same time I want to have my respect.
That was just my way of trying to show that there is a fundamental issue here. We cannot just easily change polygamy, as Dr. Sisi has just said. But what we can do is to work on the people who participate in these relationships. We work on the men to make sure that we use the law to ensure that the men behave properly. We also use other means in society to ensure that men behave properly. Because for one, if everybody behaves properly, there shouldn't be any problems.
I think it's nearly impossible. I think it's easier to regulate polygamy than to regulate men's behavior. Of course. I mean, we are human beings. I mean, if you go to the West, it's criminal to have a second wife. It's criminal. But now, even if we abolish polygamy in the Gambia, we will still behave badly, including myself. Because we will have a girlfriend outside. But again, for me, regulating behavior will be very, very, very difficult because we are human beings.
Okay. But I think it's quite obvious that the solution does not lie in the system. Men are men. Some do say, just allow me. Dr. Sisi has just admitted that even with one wife, men will still cheat. And let me tell you, you would rather, okay, you will have your turn. I know she is very emotional about this. But would you rather know the person you will share with officially, or you just have others you share with yet you don't know about them? So, but the important thing here is, if men behave properly,
I should just tell Esa here, I'm the moderator, but I have to be biased here. There is nothing like you either accept polygamy or you accept your husband to cheat. It is not either or. They are not the same. We see in Gambia men that marry 4 wives. That doesn't stop them from cheating. So it is not like the behavior. It's like what we said about regulating. It's not. They cheat with women, of course. But that's not the point. But that's not the point. The point is, anytime that you talk about polygamy, they will say that you either accept your husband to marry 2 wives than to cheat. But that is not the solution. So we should just do away with that one. I mean, I prefer all of them.
You know, I think the notion that the women should choose polygamy or, men being regulated is defeats whatever we have spoken here today, because it's very contradictory from what you have stood on the podium to say that toxic masculinity and all that, and then now you are telling women that do we want polygamy to be eradicated or we want men to be regulated? But just like Memuna said, whether we eradicate polygamy or not, or whether polygamy is accepted, the men will still cheat. And I find it very difficult to accept. No, but that, coming to that, the sisters, I don't think that any woman should entertain somebody that is married and then comes to. No, you shouldn't. Women are catching up to the men. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So, there you go. But the point is this, that is very important for me. That's my topic. My issue is not even about the debate as to whether men should be regulated or women should be regulated. That's not my issue. Is that women need to support each other, and IEC is doing such a fantastic job, and I'm so proud to be part of it. And the other thing is that the women who are out there, like Meimuna, Nene, and myself, and so many, and the IAC women, we should not be ridiculed on social media for being strong. We should not be, because we should support each other. But often, we are always, these ones are not married, these ones are, feminists. It takes a man to be married to me, period. And I'm not going to settle for less. So, for today, IAC women, I salute you, and let's keep up the good work.
Let's give the women the
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Mr. Fall, with due respect, you make mention about Islam here. I just want to refer back to the verses which says men will never be just between women, because that's their nature. So I don't think that problem will be able to be solved. Yeah. To be fair between women, to change the attitudes regarding multiple wives, because God himself said it, that they will never be just between women. But so yet again, he said, if you fear that you will not be just, you should marry only one. After making mention of that, you can marry 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Before that, I just want to comment Mr. Cisse, what he says about the role of education to eliminate toxic masculinity. I use myself as a living example, because 99% of the women who come to Norway, they believe that maybe their husbands brought them here. And many times people ask me, did you come with your husband or your husband brought you here? I said no. But because of the system that is put here in Norway, I was being able to eradicate that violence against my own country and being protected by the Norwegian law. So I'm so grateful to the Norwegian system, and still urging women to be educated, because it's your power. I have used education to rescue myself and my 2 kids who were on a toxic relationship. So, on that note, and the law also, we should be aware of our rights as Muslim women and aware of the laws of the land, which is the legal system, which I use to protect myself yet again. So, I thank you all for that.
Thank you.
I think I have been misunderstood. What I am trying to show is that even in monogamous relationships, you have men behaving badly. They beat their women, their wives, they rape, they torture. Is that true or false? So that you don't eradicate that problem by attacking polygamy. Okay? Just hold a second. Just hold a second. The problem here is the behavior of men and not the arrangements where partners come together. The problem is you have men behaving badly. Once that problematic is solved, then you do not have these other problems, because you can have polygamy. It works well. If the 2 parties, if the wives in that relationship accept to be in it, and they are treated properly, and they are happy, whose problem is it? There should not be a problem. The question is, if the man is in a polygamous relationship and he cannot do it properly, he cannot keep the wives happy, the wives are not happy being in it, then there is a problem. Then there should be a solution. All right? Either the man changes the behavior to treat the people involved properly. If that is not possible, then it becomes a toxic relationship, and therefore it has to be addressed. But if everything works well, who is me or you to try to challenge it. Because this is an arrangement between people who agree to be in a relationship that works for them. Thank you.
The discussions are those that have asked questions. I don't think I would have time to repeat, but Moses, we have 15 minutes.
I think what you are advocating for is what we call behaviorism. You know, you are focusing attention on the behaviors. But I think what is important to do is to attack the system that allows that behavior or that creates this sort of behavior. You know, because polygyny is supported by a system of patriarchy, you know, which is a system that oppresses women. You know, so to solve the problem, you have to attack the system. You know, at the same time that you work to change the behavior of men and empower women. So the whole thing is systemic oppression. And with that, you know, if you don't work at the macro level or at the system level, it will be very difficult to liberate women.
I think you have to live in the society of polygamy before you understand that.
Well, you shouldn't continue with that because I'm from a polygynous family. You know, my father was married to 5 women, and I'm a Christian, and I have 25 siblings. You understand? And I saw how my mother suffered. You know, my mother never stepped in the classroom, but she was able to educate all of us, saw us through universities, you know, and all that. So I know what I'm talking about. So it's the system of patriarchy that supports polygyny that we need to dismantle. Yeah.
Yes, and I think I would support. Actually, polygamy reinforces this bad behavior you are talking about, and women we abuse it. And I think it pains me that in 21st century we are still talking about these things, and our women have suffered far too long. And for me, to be honest, the sacrifice they make, I mean, it's what they go through is serious. They are being exploited on a daily basis until today. And that is why when we said patriarchy is privilege, we enjoy those privileges. And you look at today, the Gambian worker is the most exploited worker in the world. But the Gambian female worker is even the more exploited worker. They work 8 days a week because they are employed by the hotels and the banks mostly. They work Monday to Saturday. On Sunday they work at home. On Monday they go back to work. But there are no laws to protect them from that exploitation. And they are paid peanuts. And I think today our debate should focus on how do we make life easy for our women. How do we make so with some of these privileges away from us and give it to them as well to start
So men should be ready to be stripped of their privileges. Mariama, Mariama would just want to comment.
Ndela diamo tisiala bake comme ndafanante diamo nola angale kandan yo bar comme nyima nyimandi na diamo comme mbole demanding folo wole jansala demanding comme ate ba foka ko Mr. Cisse ko pro ke bale alfali wol bi comme wol time o comme tabital ne ngadini ngita yibe barinte ngamira alfal fanani al satra fanana gerenso dondin ketel fanala baaje la sinin men benala baaje la wol fanan tasi sone aware ni ajibe ni ikoybe akete temena ni te dingina ni te ita ding baluto konala so sama ita dinga aje fama ga menke so nata fanan ka baki atafanya sakenole dini nyesi ba akenole altiku
ha atalinte ku bondino lo wo dindi da alsi karanya wanya di mabarata ku bondino la je iba kelele because iba fele mfa mata mbida nyunguna omba mata mbida nyunguna comme like msalo ve kama bi ndela alfa dolbeje mo dolbeje ikiline site kelku so dolbeje ijama site je dolbeje mini ale ijama site je ni ta dingi bo situation ni ta muso bo situation sifa kono ni ko be diam le sa fo ko fete fama ma nyinge ba o fete ba mama nyimonya ba so asada maybe ite bo kono ite be men kono ani o tambita mena imanke kilinti ani mfana no alifa alfana ning bi tal fana ni imanke kilinti e bada nyo kono ba ke fana jama be je ndala bi fana.
What Maria was basically saying was the men being role models for their kids, because when you want to speak up against polygamy or all these toxic cultural masculinity things, then the question is, you're usually challenged by people who say your mother accepted it, why can't you accept it? And we should just accept that we've moved now to a new generation where these things are not just acceptable anymore. I think I did justice to the translation. Yeah?
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm happy to have our Gambian speakers here, Mr. Fall and Mr. Cisse. Anyway, everybody's talking about polygamy. I'm not going to talk about it. You'll be surprised. That's not my. That's not where I'm going to anyway. For me, some of you who know me, you know very well that I support women, and I like to support women. Everybody knows me here. I don't know much about polygamy. I was born, I met my wife, my father was having only my mother, all of us we are the same mother, so we don't know about polygamy much. So, but anyway, what I'm coming to say is, I don't know, there's once somebody talk about supporting the women. The problem of Gambia today is because the women are left behind, which is very true. And that's what I want to emphasize. We need to support the women. I'm an example. I have 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. And unfortunately, the elder one is living in Italy, he lives his own. I bring 2015, I bring 3 of them, 2 girls, 1 boy. Today, 2015, today, one of the girls is going to the university studying engineering. I don't want to tell you where the boy is. So just to show you that how important to empower these women, how important it is. We all know here, our Gambian girls, our Gambian young girls who were born here or who were brought here, many of them are university graduates. But you can count how many boys are university graduates. So for me, all of you know what I'm doing in my work. I have 5 girls working for me in my company. Only girls. And I try with men first. It doesn't work. But when I start with the girls, today, all those who know me, they know me because of those girls. So let's empower them.
And I will say that he was the first video man that I saw with his wife behind the camera here in Oslo.
I think I normally don't like using the word let's empower them or let's support them. No, let's give them what they are due. Because the word empower is very paternalistic. It means that we are doing them a favor. We are not doing them a favor. We should give them what they are due, and that they should also demand it also. Don't sit and say empower us, empower us. Demand it. Come and get it.
I think another thing that I've observed as a byproduct of toxic masculinity is that women become ultra masculine. So we find a masculine feminine woman who is struggling, who is wading through shit and all racism, sexism, classism with no support. So we should really, as you're saying, give us our due.
Thank you.
Just one last point. I have taken the microphone far too many times. Yes. For those of you who watch the TRRC, you would see that all the lawyers that sit with me are women. That was a deliberate choice. It was a deliberate choice to show that in New Gambia, it does not matter your sex. The important thing is what you can deliver. And you would all agree with me that they are doing exceptionally well. They are doing exceptionally well. Gambia is a changing society. If you look at the laws of the TRRC, we are to be gender sensitive in everything that we do. And you could see it in the way we select witnesses. You could see it in the way we question witnesses. Look at the victims of rape, for instance. Previously, when you question victims of rape, you focus mainly on the conduct of the victim. But if you look at what we did, we focus on the conduct of the perpetrator. That is a fundamental change. And this is the practice in the international courts. And we wanted to show in Gambia that when you deal with rape cases, you don't treat the victim, the woman, as the problem. The problem is the bad behavior of the man. And that is what you should focus on. So as a society, in order for us to change progressively, we have to look at all those problems in our society which keep the women down and the women behind. I mean, if 55% of the population is women, if you sideline them, you have sidelined the majority. And like the gentleman has just indicated, our women tend to perform better than the men nowadays in every aspect of our society. You see examination results, you would have the odd one or two guy performing well, but most of the top performers are women. And there are certain things that women can demand. It's now basically internationally agreed, and it's part of, I think, it was part of the MSGs and now Sustainable Development Goals that women should occupy particular positions in society. Why don't you start demanding having, but in fact, I think it's now law in Africa that women should at least occupy, say, 30% in parliament. But you are not coming out. Please come out and participate. Because, I mean, Dr. Cisse said, come and take it. But it's there, it's put on the plate, you're not coming forward to take it. So, there are important, there was a time I was so proud of Gambia. All the generals in government were women. Secretary General, woman. Solicitor General, woman. Attorney General, woman. Accountant General, woman. Auditor General, woman. Maybe it was a deliberate choice by Jami to come off last week. But we can improve on that. I haven't seen a female general in the army yet. There are many generals. But female general. Oh yeah, I didn't know that. You see, but that is also an improvement, and we could continue improving further. But it will not change if the women are not proactive. The women have to be proactive. They have to be out there and demand it, and a lot of it is in fact given. So come and take it. And only when you take it, only when you are in the forefront. In fact, the Constitution should say, if you have a man president, you must have a woman vice president, or vice versa. That way, you are empowered more in the politics and so forth. But thank you very much for having us here, and we're really happy with the work you're doing. And thank you.
I just have to take one more question, and then we go for, yeah. After this one, we will have our speakers. We would like you to come up stage and then get a little gesture of thank you from the Iac Norway.
Assalamu alaikum. Yo, ngako sawa sankatara yankuba kilingol diamuka. So, amansone yao, barara mala ya sone ya. So, lenkumu na Islam oto matara je ko musu ke wose musu futu fo musu nani bare len ko ko bukata nyama kade futu je me ala ko aku tata nyama nin kumuninga me ne musu ke tanko maybe ke fula maybe usatra ka nyama bari no nda senyere fu wono loro ndo muso la nga atra nga sabar ala ba de go te ku sabar yeni misa sakon to muso le fa be jam nda fe ndoro alhamdulillah may na ta jam anni ke ma ke fon ka ke fay so mo la tentulet nga atra ndo so ta menda ndo la di no te so nala kadu karantare ye ku jama ke no fay so ndo faram ba yo so ta menda ndo faram ma so wala so ndo la di no faram wol faram be wala nyama so ali nga atra do ali nga sabar ali nga sabar do mo bu ka sabar ye ni sa e sabar ta wata ika kontane nyato so ali nga sabar do
Thank you so much, Senator May, for that one. Who will translate that?
Well, sabari means patience. Just that what actually she's saying is that this thing is something that can be eliminated, and that what our grandmothers accepted, they will not accept, and what they accept, our daughters will not accept because they are more educated. But what she is urging, admonishing all women, especially those living here, is to be patient, and whenever you are patient, you will not regret it. I think basically that's what she said.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to have the speakers upstage, and members of the Iac Norway will you come on stage, and then Dr. Cesar, all the speakers. Amina is here as well. Today we were empowering the men, as you can see.
More like. I wrote Bari.
Before we go, there is a little announcement about dinner. Nene?
Good evening, everybody. We can have our guests follow Shilpa first, and then the rest of the delegation can go after the guests. The panelists and our guests, please. First, follow Shilpa. Wherever Shilpa is, just follow the line, and then the rest of us follow after that. Thank you very much. And please, all of the members of Iac Norway, your badges, can you make sure that you give all your badges back to NATO? Thank you.